Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the MARKETrends Premium webinar. We're going to be going over the product today to be able to give you some information on how to use the site and use the information in it so that you can work with your clients and customers as well as just gain knowledge about your area. From a demonstration standpoint, I'm going to be using the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors information, but any one of these would be your MLS and then the information that's below from that standpoint. There's three main features that are available here: the dashboard, the charts, and the reports. We're going to spend the majority of our time on charts because that's the most flexible and portable pieces of information, so we'll do that one last. I'm going to go over the dashboard first, jump over to reports, and then move my way back to charts. So in order to be able to look at the information, I'm going to go ahead and change my location. And again, I just click on that green button for change location, and I can just start typing. And it gives me any one of the different pieces of information that start with LAS, that have LAS in it. I'm going to choose Las Vegas, the city, but I could have chosen any one of these different zip codes. So you can choose any of the geographical areas that are near you. And when you do so, it'll rewrite the screen so that it has the information for that particular area. This very first part of our dashboard are the market gauges. And if you use the little scroll buttons on the carousel here, you can see additional metrics, and depending upon your MLS, you may have more than some others. We include information about the dollars per square foot, median and sold price, days to settle, days to contract, as well as original to list price ratio, and normal market activity items like number of active listings and number of sales and new listings. So all these different metrics are available to you. How do you read one of these gauges? Well, it's not too difficult. There's four pieces of information. Right now we're showing the December 2013 data, and these gauges are seasonal. So they use 5 years worth of December data, in this case, 5 years of seasonal data. The minimum value of those 5 Decembers is the leftmost value. The maximum value of those 5 Decembers is the rightmost value. The colored portion of the gauge is the average of those 5 years, and then the needle is going to indicate what the current month is. So that gives you a real quick look from a seasonal standpoint as to what's going on in the market for the particular area that you're interested in. And like I said, you're going to be able to scroll to the right and left to be able to look at additional metrics. So I can see right here that the median sale price is at the highest it's been in the 5 years. So from a trending standpoint, it's continuing to go up, hasn't decreased compared to any December in the past 4 years. So otherwise, on this dashboard here, we have two pieces of information down here at the very bottom. The snapshot gives you the raw numbers for the current month. It also gives you the year-over-year change as well as the month-over-month change. Year-over-year, again, seasonal, December to December, and month-over-month would be the prior month. So in this case, December compared to November. So it gives you the different changes here to see what's going on. Remember that negatives are not always bad, because your days to contract and your days to settlement, if they are negative changes, those are usually good because things are decreasing in time to get to market and to settlement, and those are usually good things. So just because you see a positive or negative, make sure that you're looking at it from the correct metric to see what is good or bad regarding the market that you're looking at and the geographic area that you're looking at. Over here to the right-hand side, we have this pie and donut chart. It's a combination. The middle portion is the pie, and then the outer rim is a donut, so that way you actually get two pieces of information at the same time. This is based upon CoreLogic's AVM value. So they do AVMs on all the tax data to be able to find out how many homes are above or below the current market value that is out there based upon their AVM model and their calculations. And so it looks at all the tax information. It tells you how many homes are above and how many are below. And then this outer donut portion breaks it down so that you can see the percentages. So the 0 to 10% above value or below value are these two pieces right here. And then it goes all the way around in order to be able to see the breakdown accordingly. So this chart will change based upon the location as well to be able to give you an idea. Remember that it is based upon tax information, not your MLS data, and so it takes into account all the foreclosures, all the short sales that might go through the banks and that might not hit your MLS. So I know a lot of people are saying, wow, I didn't realize this many people are underwater in our area when I show this for a particular area. And I'm like, well, it might not be, at least for your MLS, because of the arm's length and that you might not have a lot of bank listings in your system. This represents everything in the tax system. Okay? Let's see. So then we have the next piece of information is the reports. So I'm going to move over here to the reports section. We have two different reports. They're both PDF files that you can generate, and you can generate them all the way back to 2008 for any of the listings and information that's in your system from the MLS. I'm going to go ahead and click on the go for this month for December 2013 and generate it so I can explain to you a little bit about how to read this report. What's great in the fact that it goes back to 2008 is it's going to provide you the information so that if somebody, say, bought their home in the past 5 years and now they're going to sell it, you could actually print the report from when they purchased their house to today when they're about to sell their house and show them the report from both time periods side by side in your listing presentation. So it gives them a good idea as to what's going on. So how do you read this report? So over here we have a little summary. That's very much like the very front page that I showed you, where it gives you the year-over-year change and the actual values, though, from this December to last December. Over here to the right-hand side, it gives you the inventory. And the first two numbers are snapshots. So I'm looking right now at December 2013 data. At the end of December, on December 31st, if you went into the MLS and you counted how many active listings there were for Las Vegas in this instance, you would have seen that there were 6,500 active listings in the system. If you went and looked and searched the statuses that make up contract, that could be maybe under contract, contingent statuses, taking backups, depends upon what your MLS has for choices. But if you total them all together, then you can see how many were there at the end of December. So these first two numbers are what happened, what was going on at the end of December on December 31st. The third and fourth numbers, where the word new is what happened during the month of December. So between December 1st and December 31st, the number of new listings that came into the system was 2,000, and the number of new listings that went under contract was 2,300. So just by looking at this, I can see that more listings are leaving due to contracts than listings coming in. So my churn is that my active inventory is getting eaten up because more are getting contracts. So it's a great way to be able to look quickly to see how your market is doing, whether the net number of listings in the system is going up or down. And then obviously it gives you the comparison from last year to this year. Also gives you an idea of the days on market to see where your market is, how quickly it's going. You can see a high concentration in here between 30 and 90 days in the two numbers there. Quite a few still all the way up to a year, and we still have a few stragglers over 2 years, but you definitely have some quick sales between 1 and 10 days in this instance. So this gives you a good idea as to how hot the market might be. Some of that might be controlled by the financing and things like that that's out there. But it'll definitely tell you whether or not one area is hotter than another. And it's also good to be able to explain to your buyers and sellers, especially setting your seller's expectation, because how many sellers think their house is going to sell in one day? They all do, right? Because they have the perfect house and it's going to be priced perfectly, right? So this is a great way to be able to set their expectations through the process. So I moved down here a little bit more, and I have the sold information in detail and the active information. So I'm able to look at this information here, break it down by price range to be able to see what's going on in the particular market. For instance, I can look here and see my total in this middle price range here, $150,000 to $200,000, and I can see that there were actually 450 sold. I only have 1,100 in inventory, so I have about 2 months worth of inventory. Pretty much a seller's market in that aspect, not a lot of inventory. So if somebody came to me and said, I'm about to, I want to list my property, do you think it's a good time? I'm in this price range. Absolutely, not a lot of inventory there. Whereas if I look down at, say, maybe one of these where the higher priced homes, $750,000 to $1 million, 12 sold, and I have 130 in inventory. So I have 10 months worth of inventory, actually 12 months worth of inventory in there, so that it's going to take a little bit longer for things to sell. That might mean that they get less than list price, or it may be that it sits on the market a lot longer. So by looking at this information to see where the hot numbers are and where they are with active inventory, you're able to talk to your buyers and sellers, your buyers too, from your investor. Your investor might actually be interested in this. If there were only 12 sales and there's 132 in inventory, they might find a bargain in one of the homes that are currently in inventory. So don't just look at this from a seller's perspective as how long it might sit on the market, but also from a buyer's perspective of whether or not the market is saturated or not. And when you're talking about presenting a contract, you can use this as a to add in maybe what you want to do from a discount standpoint over the list price. So great useful information to be able to use with your buyers and sellers. It's available in a PDF format so that you can take it out and you can print it with your to your clients and customers. So gives you a quick look. It's a lot of numbers. These reports, we call them legacy reports. They've been around forever. NAR has always requested this information from every one of the associations of realtors. So what happens is this report is sort of like a leftover legacy report from that standpoint. So we created that to make sure that all the associations and anybody associated with it could give the information out to NAR or to any client or customer. But then we created this local market insight report, which actually has a lot of the same information. I'm going to go ahead and generate this report so that you can see the difference. This one is a newer look and feel to it from a standpoint. The other one is a lot of numbers and detailed because it actually used to be a report that most people generated in an Excel spreadsheet. So instead, what we did was we created a nicer look and feel so that if you wanted to create this for presentations or for an open house or something, you could. Now, I chose all the different home types, but you can choose just the ones that are interested to you. The difference about this report, too, is we brand it. So if you have purchased the product, it'll come out with your personal information here, and the personal information occurs on each page as well as the cover page, so it's there, and you can edit this information under My Account if you need to. So it presents the same information that I showed you on the other report, but in a completely different look and feel. So here's the actual activity as to what's going on. You can see through the green and the red indicators what's moving positively or negatively. You have both the year-over-year change as well as the month-over-month change as far as the information is concerned. Shows you year-to-date values and the percent change there. And it also gives you a 5-year seasonal average for the last 5 Decembers in this instance. So gives you a good idea as to what's going on with the market activity from that standpoint. You have median sold price down here as well. Then we have a nice chart here to show you the number of closed sales to show you what's going on from an activity standpoint. And then also the median sold price. You can see they're seeing a nice increase in the median sold price right now in that area. Down here we have some sliders, very much like the market gauges, shows a minimum value and a maximum value, and they're seasonal. And then we also show the average value here in the middle, and then the actual value is up top. So I can see inventory is low. I can see days on contract about in the middle, and then a pretty high sold to original list price ratio. So maybe a little bit more of a seller's market, but because of the days to contract and the fact that these are not at the maximums and the minimums accordingly, then there's definitely buyer activity where they're being able to show information. So I'd want to get a little bit more granular, maybe look at the zip codes that are underneath this to find out and drill it down for my prospective home seller or buyer to give them some more information. Like I said, that was the total report for all of Las Vegas, but I can also do the one here for single-family homes to be able to show the information, and then also to be able to show the information broken down by townhouse and by condo co-op. If you don't have one of those home types in your MLS, the data may not be broken down for that for you. All right, so it gives a lot of different information from that standpoint. So great pieces of information to hand out at your open houses and things like that. These are PDFs. You can save them to your hard drive to be able to grab the information to be able to work with it. So again, I went over the reports and went over the dashboard to give the information here. I have a question, and somebody asked, can the dashboard be put on a website with the live data? This data cannot be put on a dashboard at the moment. We are working on adding the market gauges so that you can embed them on a website, but these two pieces of information you cannot put on a website right away. I'll show you some of the pertinent information though that goes with it so that you can post it. You can also put the links for the PDFs. So you can grab these links for the PDFs and you can put those on your website so you can display some of the information. So like the summary information is right here. So technically you could put this on your website just in a different look and feel. Okay, so a couple of different things there that you could do. So we have the dashboard and the reports, but like I said, 90% of today we're going to spend on the charts, and this is where you can do just about everything, slice and dice information. And one of the best things about this site is the portability. for your marketing campaigns to be able to network with your clients and customers, we provide some great flexibility here. We have this share option that allows you to use things with social media, and we have this embed option to be able to put things on websites. And in 3 or 4 clicks, you're going to be able to get this information, put it on your website, and be able to show it to your clients and customers. Super, super easy. So how do I use these charts? Well, first of all, I just want to go over a couple things. We have a bar chart here, but you can also show a line chart, and you can actually show the data view too. So if somebody wants to actually look at the raw numbers, you can too. So there's a couple of different views here. And what I do is I tell people that it depends upon how much data you have showing, and that'll decide if you're going to use bar view or line view. For instance, I can use a 5-year bar view, and it looks great if I have just one piece of information. But if I start adding a couple of different pieces of information over here, what happens is it gets really difficult to be able to see some of the bars and the information and hover over those data points to be able to see where I am. So in that instance, when I've chosen several items, what happens is it might be a little bit easier for me to look at it from a line view standpoint. That way I can hover over the data points and actually see the values a lot easier. So the longer the time period you have and the more items you have over here, we call these facets, these little blue sections, they're facets. And so what happens is you might want to use a combination of line and bar charts depending upon the blend you're going to do. In that same respect, if I switch to a small amount of time, just 1 month, a line view looks sort of silly. So that's where I would want to probably switch back to a bar view to be a little bit more impactful and colorful. So that's just a question of showing you, playing with these things to get the best look and feel for your listing presentations or for to put things on your website or to share on social media. So you have the show for the time period here to be able to look at the information. Now, we also have view by, and that here is the default is months, but I'm currently showing Las Vegas. But if I changed my location down to a zip code, I may not have very many sales, maybe only 1 or 2 sales in a particular zip code. So what happens is we allow you to do quarters instead, so that way you can see better trending activity when you get down at the zip code level. And there could be some cities that don't have a lot of activity too, but so you have 2 different options located here. I'm going to come back to the year view and look at the information here. And I can look at the different data. I'm just going to make this a little simple just to show you the differences of the information. So I have here the number of sold listings, and I'm looking at the actual values. And so now I'm just going to do this change from last year. Are the sales increasing or decreasing? All the sales have decreased. So compared to last year, the quantity of sales through the system have actually decreased. And I can change the time frame to be able to see what trends look like. So here's my sold listings for the last 5 years. We increased on sales, then decreased, then increased, and now we're decreasing again. So you can see the different information from that standpoint. Maybe I want to be able to look at active listings instead and see where my inventory is. So I could put on active listings instead and turn off my solds. I use the add metrics. So I can see here the inventory was increasing, then it decreased. This was around the time, just so you know, almost all MLSs, I see this little bump going the other way because of the tax credit was April 2010. So the beginning of 2010, most people showed decreases in inventory, but then it sort of went back up, and then now you've been seeing the decreases more and more in the past 2 years from that standpoint. So you can definitely see how the inventory was up and then coming down. And this is the change from, so it gives you the percent change. I can switch right back to the actual values. So again, I can look at this information. I'm looking at the active listings. They had 17,000 active listings 5 years ago, and they're down to about 6,000 active listings right now, but their lowest point was over here with about 3,000. So huge changes to be able to show the information. But again, like I said, you have a lot of flexibility as to what to show here. So depending upon whether you have lines and bars chosen, the time frame chosen, and whether or not you're viewing lots of different facets, you want to be able to adjust your chart accordingly. We have different facets over here to the right, so I can break it down by these, but I also have different metrics. The metrics are all the measurements. So I have number of active listings showing. I could also show maybe the new listings that are coming in to see my new listings are starting to increase, maybe prepping up for or were decreasing due to the winter market, even though my active inventory was building. Pretty normal in November and December. So, you know, from a seasonal standpoint, it's you'll see that that's pretty normal. So there's great ways to be able to add these in. And again, like I said, if you get too many items on here, just to decrease the time period or switch to a line chart to be able to see the changes accordingly. All right. So I'm looking at market activity here. My metrics are solds, new pendings, all pendings, new listings, and active listings, so you can look at the different information. If I was going on a listing presentation, I would actually show sold listings and active listings for sure, and I'd probably show this in a line chart. It's a little bit easier to work with, just so that they can see here. My sold listings are 2,000. And my active listings are 6,000, so I do my math real quick, and I've got about 3 months worth of inventory. Look at how close these were together. So here we had 2,700 and 3,700. So we didn't even have 2 months worth of inventory back here in May. So that was a really hot spring market for this area. So seeing how close these are together show people how the activity is going and why everybody does list in the springtime, because that's when the inventory is moving and the sales are moving versus the end of the year when the holidays are going, things sit a little bit longer and stuff like that. So you can explain this information to your prospective sellers from that standpoint. So a great thing to add into maybe your listing presentation. So that's just one example. I'm going to switch over to pricing trends, and each one of these options are metric groups. These are metric groups. So I'm going to switch to the pricing trend metric group. And it defaults to the medium sales price, but you also have different pricing here: average sold price for sales, median list price for sales, average list price for sales, and then the average and median list price for the new pendings, new listings, and active listings. So you could, in essence, look at what the active inventory is doing versus your sold inventory and explain to people that the listings in the system are active here at 194, but they're actually selling at 169. So you can definitely see a big difference as to the offer prices versus the listing prices just by using this as a chart. Right? If you're going to show a trend, I recommend the line, but if you're just going to talk about some of the information, then that might be where you want to give the bar chart, and then because of that, if you're not showing a trend, you could decrease the time amount to make it a little bit more colorful and impactful in that respect. So this is a great way to be able to show some of the information. So what else can you do over here? Besides, once you choose one of the different prices, you can play with it over here. Maybe you want to look at buying power. Person wants to move into the area. They don't know what the pricing is like. I'm currently looking at Las Vegas, and I'm physically in D.C., so I'm moving from D.C. to Las Vegas, and I want to show people what their buying power is. This is the price for single-family homes. Here's my townhouses. Here's my condo co-ops, and here's my mobile homes. So this is just telling people what my buying power is. I'm not real worried about trends, so I'm actually going to switch to just the 1 month view, because in that way it's super colorful, impactful, so that a person can just hover over the different data points and they're all set. And you go, hey Margaret, how do I get that out? Well, we have quite a few different options over here. If you want to do social media, we have this share option. Super, super easy to be able to use. 3 clicks and it's going to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media you want. So I'm going to click on share. And by using the share option, it brings me to this one screen here where it shows me the chart that I'm going to bring out to social media. We actually have over 200 social media sites that you can choose. And I can tell you, I don't know them all, but you can go through the list at some point at your leisure to be able to look at it. Since the most popular are Facebook and Twitter, we actually have the icons out here so that you can get to them real quick. So I'm going to click on Facebook as our example today. What happens is I click on that Facebook icon. That's my second click, and it actually opens an interface with Facebook. If you notice, my URL is actually facebook.com here. All right, so what I can do is I'm actually going to post this information on Facebook. So I could say this is the buying power by home type for Las Vegas. All right, so I have the information there. Here's my third click. I click on share link, and I'm done. I don't really have to know how that worked. but I know that it did. So you may not believe me, so I'm going to go show you. We're going to go over to Facebook, and I'll show you exactly what happened on my Facebook page. Here's the actual thing of what we did. Here's the buying power by home type for Las Vegas to be able to see the information in here. And what happens is it gives a hyperlink. Oops. Facebook likes to change your sort order all the time. That drives me crazy. So let's go ahead and choose most recent. So if I choose my most recent, then I'll be able to see what I have here. And again, this is the buying power by home type for Las Vegas. It gives me a little snapshot. They may not understand, they might not be able to read this. So in here, when you type something, chances are with social media you want to ask a question so that you get them to interact, but you also might want to say, hey, click on the link for more details. So if I click on this hyperlink, what happens is your client and customers, this is their experience. They're going to come back to the site. They can't do anything, so you notice all the buttons up here are gone, so they can't do anything. They can't really log in because they won't have an ID and a password, but they can see this one particular chart. They can't change the chart, but they can play with it a little bit. They can hover over each of the different bars to see the different values, and they can see the change from last year, so they have that capability. And then they also can play with the legend. Maybe they're not interested in a mobile home. Maybe they have 3 kids and a condo co-op is sort of out of the question, so they could just hover over these 2 data points and play with it. If they made a mistake, no problem. They can turn the items back on. So there is a little bit of play and flexibility with what your clients and customers can do with each of the charts from that standpoint. So super, super easy and portable. If you don't already have a social media campaign, this product can be your social media campaign, because I'm going to show you lots of different variations. I showed you the value of homes here by the home type, and I showed you median sold price, and there was other metrics and stuff that you could use too. But think of all the different zip codes that are in your MLS, and all the cities that are in your MLS, and all the counties that are in your MLS. If each week you posted one chart, it would take you forever to be able to go through all the different charts that I'm going to show you today. And so your social media campaign, if you schedule what you're going to show to people, it really makes it so that they can see different things. So what else can I show? Well, if you're in an area where maybe a city like DC where it's very congested, you might be able to show everything by square footage to show them the price. And that way they could see the value of the home based upon square footage. So again, super, super colorful chart that a person could hover over the different data points to be able to see the information. Let me see if there's any less than 8,000 square feet. So we have all the way from here, and it goes all the way up. So again, same thing, in 3 clicks I can get this out. Click on share. I'm all set. Here's my chart. Then I can go ahead and click on Facebook. I could add in the information, and I click on share link, and I'm off to the races from that standpoint. It's going to put it right out there. I can type whatever I want in and share the link. Now, Facebook gives you a couple of different options. If you click on these options here, I clicked share on your timeline for everything, but you can send it to just one person, or you can send it to a group. So if you have a group for your buyers and sellers, you can do that, or you can send it in a private message. Now, these 4 options are Facebook options. So if Facebook changes something on their site, these may change. They haven't changed in probably a year, so I don't expect to, but they're always changing their site with new stuff and everything, so just realize that you might get prompted with some additional stuff here. Okay, so that flexibility, this screen, like I said, is with Facebook itself. So you can post that out, but like I said, the interaction capability is here, so the person can come and look and say, oh gee, this is too expensive, so I want to turn off my 4,000 plus square feet, and I'd be able to turn some things on and hover over the different data points. So again, it gives your client and customer some flexibility to be able to tailor what they're interested in and look at the chart accordingly to be able to send that out. All right. I have the question, can we save that link to send out for a zip code in Facebook? Absolutely. You can do a zip code or a or a city. So any of the different locations. So if I just did Las Vegas here and chose a zip code instead, I'd be able to switch it so that the information is by zip code, and I do the same thing. The share option is available. So anything I'm showing to you can be done at the zip code level, at the city level, at the county level, and at the MLS level. I'm just showing you one geographic area from that standpoint. Okay? The question is no, the paid advertising in Facebook. I'm going to wait and talk about that at the end since I'm recording the webinar. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about, so I'll come back to that. Okay, Bill? So if I have the information here, you can play with it, break it up. One of the great things for listing presentations that I also show people is, say a person has a home that is 2,000 square feet, you might want to show them some of the things surrounding that, and you go on that listing presentation with your CMA, and maybe they have 2,000 square feet and you're telling them to list their home for $227,000 like this is showing here in the purple. What happens is by showing them these others, there might be houses in their neighborhood that are going for these other prices, and you can say, well, gee, you know, they have more square footage. That's why that property is going for more or going for less. So this is a great way to also include it on your listing presentations to be able to support your CMA information. Picture's always worth 1,000 words, and you know, goes with all the information that you're giving to them, talking points as well. You can include these in listing presentations as well. So aside from share, you can use the download option, and you can use view as a ping. And what happens is you can grab that image. Here's the image that we just created. I can right click on it and use copy image, and I'm going to go over to PowerPoint. I have a PowerPoint presentation all set up here to give you some information. I'm going to delete my chart that I already had and just use the paste button here within PowerPoint, and I'm going to bring that chart in, and then that way I can have this added to my PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to give my homeowners, and maybe I'm going in on an iPad or something like that. So you can add in all this great information to be able to add it to your listing presentations as well, to show them stuff and associate it with your, complement your CMA with this information. So great way to be able to look at the information. So if you don't do it by square footage, you might want to do it by bedrooms. They have a 3-bedroom house, and I would always choose 2 and 4 bedrooms, and then that way you can show them the value for 2 and 4 bedrooms in case other homes in the area are up for sale as well. This is another one that you can do, though, for everybody. Buying power. Remember I showed you the buying power. We can have it here so that you can show them by bedroom, so that because people can see what they can afford. So again, you can put this out on a website, you can put it on social media, you can put it, do anything you want. Put it in an e-newsletter. Again, with the ping format, you can switch this over to the ping format, take the information from that standpoint and put it in an e-newsletter. So I've got it here. I can right-click and copy my image. I'm going to go to my email. I use Yahoo email, so I'm just going to show you how to do this so that you understand some of the portability aspects of our product. So I'm over here, and I'm creating a new one, and I'm doing a newsletter, and I can just right-click and paste that ping graph right in here. And so now I can add some other stuff, send this out to my clients and customers, and I'm all set. So I could put 3 or 4 charts into an e-newsletter and add my addresses, or maybe just send it to one person and say, hey, here's the information you asked about the zip code or anything like that. Super easy and portable. These 3 options down here really make it so that it's super easy to work with and use. So I'm going to show you maybe by bathrooms. Maybe you want to do something for ROI to be able to show people what's going on with what they can, if maybe they're going to finish off, add on a bathroom to their house, and they want to see what the ROI is for the investment. So I could do that with share and ping and send it via an e-newsletter, but I'm going to now show you this third function, embed, which will let you bring any of the stuff that I've been showing you to your website. So I'm going to use the embed option, and what it does is it pops up a little screen here, super easy to use. We have this auto update version. This is the best thing since sliced bread because it's a set it and forget it mentality. It's a corny infomercial, but set it and forget it. What happens is once you do this, you don't have to do it ever again. All right, so you can set this up on your website, and you don't have to do it every month. You don't have to update anything. We automatically update your website for you by using this option. And you go, well, gee, Margaret, why is there another option? Well, this option is if you were going to write a blog, because if you were going to write a blog and you were going to write about December 2013 and talk about these values, and you were going to say, December this, December that, and in December this happened, then you would want to use the fixed date range version because you wouldn't want that chart to change. But if you use the update version, when January, February, March, April, May, all the statistics in the future are posted, this chart will update so that it's fresh. All right, so great way to be able to update your website and make it so that it's a no fuss, no muss mentality. We have the HTML here, and you go, oh, I don't know HTML. That's okay, you don't need to. So here's the information here. We make it so that if you click on it, you can't actually grab a partial. You have to grab all of it. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to use the copy feature. And I'm going to show you how to put this on a website. Super easy to do. I'm not a webmaster. I know a lot about our product, but I'm not a person who knows HTML. I have a website already set up. Like I said, I work in the DC area, so a lot of the demonstration stuff that I have here will show some DC statistics, but we'll show you how to put the information in there accordingly. Most websites have a property search and some finance tools and contact me, but usually you're able to add a page on, and so we added some market trend information, and we added some charts and stuff like that to be able to add the stuff on the site. So how do you do that? Well, I come to my admin page, and everybody has one of these, and it allows you to edit your content. And there's a content editor. That's what you want to find, and this is where you can type stuff in, and you can type English, so you can type any words and stuff like that. So what you want to do is you want to scroll down all the way to the end of your page, and you want to, or wherever you want to insert it, press enter a few times, find a blank spot so that you can have some space to put it, right? I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. And this is not what you want to do. I just pasted my HTML into the English version. And so I don't want the English version, the HTML pasted here, so I'm going to delete that to show you the difference. Every content editor has some sort of button like this where it says HTML on it. Right here. It might say source, S-O-U-R-C-E, and depending upon your content editor, it might be up here where you can do bold and italics and stuff like that. There might be a button like right around here, or it's down here. So it depends upon the product. I'm using the exact site product for a website, but yours might be a little different. So I'm going to use that HTML view. I click on that and see how my whole site changed to HTML. Again, I'm not an HTML person, so I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to press enter a few times, find a blank spot, right click and use paste, and I just threw my HTML in there that I clicked from the RBI site. I'm not doing anything else over here because I don't know HTML. I'm going to switch back to the English view with design. I'm not going to touch anything because I don't want to break anything else on my page. So switch back to the design view. And what will happen is now underneath this one little image, I now have a new chart for the Las Vegas area to be able to show the information. So at this point, I can go ahead and add in a title to it and anything else I wanted to do it to maybe explain the information that's going on. All right. Let's see. So I could easily tell them maybe this is something where ROI, thinking about adding a bathroom. So home improvements, whatever you want to do, you can post it on your website. Just like with social media, they can hover over the different items and they can click on the different items in the legend to turn things on and off. So there's a lot of flexibility from that standpoint to be able to work with different things. So super easy to be able to get the information on here. Like I said, you just grab the HTML. You can grab it in different sizes. We have a small, so it makes the chart a little bit smaller, or you can use even the extra large if you want jumbo. So a little different variety. The HTML is there for you. And like I said, this auto update version is awesome because you don't have to do anything to it. So you might want to show some trends to be able to show what's going on. I'll show you a couple of examples here so that you can see what I did. And one of the things that I do recommend is that you tell your clients and customers what they can do with the charts so that they know that they can sort of play with them, because they may not find that on their own from that standpoint. So you want to be able to tell them what's going on, and the fact that they can hover over the data points and that they can click on the legend items to be able to see what's going on. All right. Let's see, I'm having a little bit of slow response time from my chart. So again, you want to be able to have something so that you can, turn something on and off, to be able to click on the different items, to be able to see the stuff. Let's see, kill that page. Let me see what I can do here. So my website is not responsive. This is what we call demo heck, right? So let me see if it comes back up. Maybe see if I refresh it. And this is not RBI's site, so I am not responsible for the uptime on this site. So let's see what's going on. It's not wanting to do anything. All right, let's go look at a few other people's sites. So what I've done is I have pulled up a few sites that some other agents have put some data on, so that you can see what other people have done with their websites. And so some of the information here is with the Arizona area. I have an agent in the Chandler, Arizona area, and they've put several of our charts onto their website so that they can show what the market, what's going on with the market. And again, they have it so that they have several different items. They can turn things on and off, just like I showed you, the interactive capability. And they also indicated that these are in real time so that they update automatically, so that's a good way to do it, and that you can cursor over something to get the actual figures. Here's another example. This person's located in Bethesda, Maryland, and what they did was they showed the information so that year-over-year comparison, and they actually explain it so that the information to their customer, they just tell them it's a year-over-year comparison, and that they tell them they understand trending, because real estate is seasonal. So that's why they're comparing year-over-year. So they mixed it up with some line charts and some bar charts to make it so that the information isn't so monotonous, and I recommend the same thing from that standpoint, so you can look at the different information from in that way. Here's another website. It's a broker site out of the DC area, and they went a little bit above and beyond. I call this the Cadillac version because they have a lot in this. They've set up a whole section where they've brought the detailed reports as well as the charts out. So they've actually brought the PDF versions of the reports, and then they've broken down the charts here. They went through the trouble of grabbing the HTML 3 times, the line, the bar, and the list view, so that their clients and customers can see all the information, and they did all 4 charts to be able to show that information. Like I said, that's a little bit above and beyond, but you're welcome to do it. And again, you can hover over the different data points and turn things on and off in the legend to be able to look at different things. So allows a lot of flexibility. So like I said, you can go crazy with this, but again, it's super easy to be able to just grab the HTML to bring it over from that standpoint. So let's see if we can come back to this. And let me show you one more example if we can get the page to come up. There we go. So here's the example one that I set up, and I told you that I'm physically in the DC area, Montgomery County, Maryland specifically. I gave 3 bullet points talking about hovering, talking about the legend, and that the charts are automatically updated on the 10th of each month so that they know to come back, and some contact information. Showed them some buying power, and this is the large chart. And I showed, I live in a city that has 5 different zip codes, so I showed all 5 zip codes plus the county so that they could sort of compare those areas. And then I have 2 small charts. This is a small size, side by side, the buying power by bedroom and bathroom. And then some market gauges, and as well as the appreciation depreciation of homes so that people could see what was going on. And then thinking about selling, here's the original list price ratio so that I can see that as time goes on, the list price, the contract price that's received goes down over the time. So it tells people, okay, you need to put your house on the market for the correct price, but it also tells buyers that it might be that the bargains are with homes that have been on the market a little bit longer. So you can use this either way, to either go with your sellers or to go with your buyers, or a combination of both. So a lot of different ways to be able to look at the data. Like I said, you can grab the HTML, put it on your website that way to be able to show the information. So what else is available over here? Well, we have our bank-mediated information. So say you were going on a listing presentation. I'm going to switch back to line view and 1 year. And I wanted to talk to them about non-bank mediated versus short sales. and I wanted to talk to them about the pricing, because here the short sales are a lot lower than the bank mediated in this market. So you might want to set people's expectations as to what's going on because of the bank involvement and stuff like that. So this might be a great one to be able to include on your listing presentation, or if you just wanted to update your clients and customers as to what the health of your market is, you might want to explain that. This is a great one too, just based upon number of sales, because I've seen so many fewer short sales and REO sales. So if your MLS provides this information, it's a great way to be able to keep your clients and customers up to date. So I'm going to come back to home type, and I'm going to choose all. And this is a great way to be able to show people what they can afford. They might not be familiar with an area. Pick a major corridor in your commute land, so to speak. I'm in the D.C. area. We're right off of 95, so I could pick maybe from Baltimore to D.C., and I could pick different locations. What you can do is you can add in different locations with compare to location and show people what it's going to be to live in one place versus another, so that they can see the purchasing power that they might have, or the cost of their commute associated with living somewhere. So you can compare it to maybe another city or to some zip codes to be able to see what the value of homes are, to be able to look at the different information. So again, it's a great way to be able to compare and show pieces of information. You could show it from a trending standpoint, or you could switch back to the bar chart and show it from the impact standpoint, so that people can hover over and see what they can afford in different areas, and then talk to them about their cost of commute versus the cost of their housing. So these comparative locations is great when a person doesn't necessarily know where to live. Since I'm in the D.C. area, Maryland and Virginia, people are always deciding which state to actually live in, and they have to commute into D.C. So to be able to do that is a great feature from that standpoint. If you're in an area that doesn't have a really bad commutes, consider yourself fortunate, and maybe you don't have to explain that one to people. I'm going to come down to pricing ratios. We have the sold price to original list price ratio that's available, and like I said, you might want to be able to show this one by the days to settle, because again, you'd be able to show the information. Let me reset this so that I'm just showing the one. And here you can see what the cost of a home sitting on the market it does to your offers. And so I look at 1 to 10 days, getting 100%, then 99%, back to 100, then dropping 98, 95, 95, and 93, and I could keep going. But this is a great chart to be able to put in your listing presentation. Again, setting your customers' expectations. Everybody thinks their house is going to sell in one day, and that it's going to sell for the list price. So by setting their expectation with this to understand what's going on, you can tell them that the longer it sits on the market, they're not going to get their list price, probably their full list price. Especially to be able to show this maybe in an area that has higher priced homes, because there's more wiggle room. I mean, if your median sale price in a particular area, Georgetown down in D.C., the median sale price is over $900,000. So you want to be able to show this, because people definitely go under list price because there's more wiggle room than, say, here in Las Vegas, where the prices were only about $150,000, $200,000. So there's a big difference there. The other thing is days on market. I said how many people think that their home is going to sell in one day. That's usually not true, and it might be based upon the condo co-op or townhouse or single family. Here you can see condo co-ops sit on the market a lot longer, 44 days, versus maybe single family homes for 31. But what they hear in the news is this: the average, all home types, 33 days. So when you go on that listing presentation, bring it so that they understand what's going on for their area. Could be by bedrooms that you show this, or by price, to be able to show them how long things sit on the market. Again, the higher price the home, it might sit on the market longer. If I use pricing here versus these lower prices, I can just choose a few of them, and you can see a huge difference. So these sat on the market 29 days versus 65 days, and it was all due to price. So a lot of different information from that standpoint that you're going to be able to add on and give in your listing presentation to support that CMA, and also set those sellers' expectations, because you want to be able to bring that information with them to with you to the presentation itself. So I come over here, and we also have information on dollar per square foot, very similar to what I showed you for regular pricing, for median sale pricing. You can do the same sort of things over here, break it down by all the different facets, the dollar per square foot. So if dollar per square foot is big by you, you could use that instead of just the median sold price. The other thing that we have is we have the information by tax. So in addition to your MLS data, because this is run with the CoreLogic data, we have all this tax data as well. Let me just come back so that I can show everything. And I can show the number of sales, maybe for 1 year. So here's all the sales out of tax. So if people want to know what the market is like, because there's a lot of foreclosures that might not hit your MLS, this is where you can get the information as to how many sales went through the system. In general, the tax information lags behind 2 months. So this is October 2013, even though all the MLS data was December of 2013. Okay, but the information is very similar, showing you the market activity and all the different metrics that are available from that standpoint to be able to look at. And then we also have the pricing trends, so you can look at the information here to be able to look at the sold price to know what's going on. In general, the sold price is lower for tax than it is for the MLS data. So when somebody says, well, why should I list it on the MLS? Remember, your FSBOs are in the tax data, right? So we also have the dollar per square foot information, and then we also have a section under here for distressed inventory, so that you can look at the information associated with auctions, REOs, and pre-foreclosures, so you can see what the health of the market is. These are great if you want to put them on a website or blog about them and tell people what the health of the market is, especially if your area has been recovering and stuff accordingly from what happened in 2008, 2009, and how things have changed over the past few years. So lots and lots and lots of information that you can use. These are your metric categories, right? Then underneath each one of those, you have a whole choice of metrics that are very similar to each other. Again, I showed you how to show the information either with a bar chart or a line chart or the actual data view. No matter what you were using for any of these, you could either use the actual values or the change from the prior year. You can show different values. You could do this for 5 years to be able to show the information. And instead of viewing it by months, you could view it by quarters. If you were going to do maybe a zip code, you might want to do that. We have our facets over here, so if you wanted to see, say, single-family homes instead of everybody, you could. Or if you just wanted to look at different bedrooms or baths, and again, you could show maybe you just 1 year worth of information to be able to see the differences, to show what's going on. We had comparative locations so that you could able to compare different cities and zip codes to each other and look at the different information that way. I showed you these 3 great options down here. Share, social media, 3 clicks, you're there. Embed, set it and forget it, put it on your website, and you're all set and happy. Download, what I consider your traditional export with the ping, throw it into a PowerPoint presentation, an e-newsletter, into a regular old email, maybe a Word document for a flyer for an open house. So great portability and functionality to be able to get things out from that standpoint. All right. I went over the dashboard, the reports earlier, and then, of course, the charts. So those are the main pieces of functions that are there. If you do have any additional questions with the site, I do want to show you. I'm clicking on the logo up here in the upper left-hand corner, the MARKETrends Premium logo. If you do have some questions, first of all, we have 2 options here. Definitions. I do this because people say, well, what does this really mean? Well, we define everything that I showed you. So if you didn't know what all pendings meant, we have a definition. The other thing is these are not copyrighted, so if you were building out your website, feel free to grab any of these. We don't copyright them. You can take them. We even have an example of how to calculate average sale price to original list price ratio, because we know people don't know necessarily how to do it. If you didn't understand that donut pie chart at the very beginning, here's the current value to purchase for all homes. We explain what it means right here. So all sorts of stuff that you can use from that standpoint. We also have regular FAQs over here that to be able to explain to you what's going on, and it tells you all the different metrics that are available and stuff like that. So all sorts of good information out here. So in case you do have a question, you can come over here as well. If you do need to contact us for any reason, like I said, you want to be contacting CoreLogic Realist Support first. They'll help you with anything associated with the product, especially if you're using the Realist Market Trends page, because that's actually in their product. But we're RBI, Real Estate Business Intelligence, and you can contact us directly with info@rbintel.com. I tell everybody this other item, please trust us or whitelist us with our domain name, which is rbintel.com, because we are the ones who send you your password and your billing info. And everybody says, a lot of times we get the comment, oh, it ended up in my spam folder. So please make sure you've whitelisted us, trusted us, so that you get the communications from us about your password and your billing. All right? So that's why the information is there. All right, since I was recording this, I'm going to turn